the idea of having favorites for everything, I've always, or not always. Always is a big, maybe always, depending on your take. Depending on your take, or according to your take, always and never at the same time. But at some point, I realized that I didn't need to have favorites for things. Like a long time ago, it was like, why are you people battling which is the favorite of? Why do I need a list? Lists are fine as long as there's no order necessarily, and you can have them, but you don't need them. And it's fine. Like it's fine, like having like 20 favorite bands or something. It's okay. There's no problem. This is like, why do I have to choose? Who's making me choose?
Oh yeah.
Like who's making you choose? Just whatever. Like this favorite, and there can be. I'm very much against something that I think is really capitalistic, actually, which is the concept of, or not concept, well, the concept of, but in practice it happens a lot, which is the best. I find it really tiring and actually kind of a hindrance to the way we should be as a society.
Like metal people who only listen to Metallica.
But just the best. Like the best anything. Like videos on YouTube is just like the best this, the best that, and this is the best. I only want the best. Why would you only want the best? There's plenty of amazing things that are not the best.
Diversity is amazing.
And are amazing being not the best. It's fine not being the best. It's okay. Just variety.
Also,
eclecticity.
I would add
eclecticity?
This perspective, if I may.
You absolutely may.
A way that I like that. Thank you. I resonate with the sentiment of what you're saying, and I offer this that, like in comedy, which is my landscape of work and creativity, like there are so many comedians who, if somebody says this person's the best or that person's the best, I'm like, I'm not going to argue, like, because they are, what they mean is like, I love them, they are wonderful, and they are the best at being themselves. Like Maria Bamford is the best Maria Bamford. There is no one better at being Maria Bamford. And I would even say, and this is the thing that I offer. And
is she the best? Like, of course she is. Of course. Yeah.
I mean, and I would say, truthfully, there is no one better than Maria Bamford at comedy, which I think everyone who is the best at being themselves at comedy, like there's also no one better than Paul F. Tompkins. There's no one better than Aparna Nancherla. There is no one better than Tig. There is no one better than Sarah Silverman. There's no one better than Rory Scovel or Nick Vatterott or Joe Firestone. Like there's no one better than Kate Berlant or Reggie Watts or Tim Minchin or Bo Burnham. Like the framing of it as there's no one better, I mean, it still does perhaps like offer, like there might be somebody who's like, oh, what about, is this person better? But it's not a question of it's of setting up like brackets for a competition. It's the fact that like there is no comparing like one, like the idea of like the spirit of saying you can't compare apples and oranges, when of course you can. They're both fruits, they're both round, they're very similar in almost all ways. Like most things in the world are different than apples and oranges. Exactly. They compare. Yes, but the same way, like you can compare things if you want to, but like it seems valuable in my life, and it seems in yours as well, like to spend our time and energy and efforts and focus our attentions on celebrating who and what we do love in the ways that we do for who they are and what they do uniquely. But yeah, I mean, so when I can also understand why people are like, oh, this person's the best, like, and this thing is the best. It's not necessary that they're trying to talk you out of like, so only listen to this, only engage with this. Like you're a fool if you think you should spend your time doing, because there are so many different bests in all directions, like from the central point where you are, like if you head off, to the left or to the up or to the west or to the in, like there's all these different aspects of, I talk about this sometimes when I was on America's Got Talent. It's weird because your jokes are competing against many things that are not jokes, for like acrobats and dogs and orchestras and, people from
and
like
apples and
the
oranges.
circus
and pineapples.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, am I funnier than this apple? Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think I'm funnier than an apple, but maybe not funnier than a pineapple.
It's pretty funny, the pineapple.
Yeah.
And I have to agree.
Yeah, absolutely. The pineapple is maybe the funniest fruit. And here's the thing: like, I think there's no fruit funnier than the pineapple, but there's a lot of fruits that might be just as funny as the pineapple in their own way. Grapes, grapefruit, absolutely. But yeah, I think ideally, like, that show is a competition, but ultimately, none of the capitalism is set up as a competition in a way like that. This is the mindset that we've all potentially, at least I know in my country, and it seems like you also have been touched by the capitalism. And so this is, the water that we've been swimming in, like, the soup that is our home, that, like, ultimately, I remember there's a comedian, Ted Alexandro, who's the best. Love him. None better. Ted Alexandro. Like, I remember when I was first going out for Last Comic Standing years ago, I forget if it was before I got on or after, but I remember talking to him about how he had never auditioned for it. And I really respected why. He's like, because I don't see comedy as a competition, so I don't want to participate necessarily. And I'm paraphrasing, like in a comedy competition. And I also don't see comedy as a competition. I don't see any art as a competition, any entertainment. I think it's, if anything, I'm competing with myself to be better than I was before. And ultimately, I'm glad that all these shows exist that let a lot of comedians have an opportunity, that let a lot of artists have an opportunity to be in front of a wider audience. If it happens to be in the guise of a competition, then so be it. That is what's happening. That, the shape of the structure of our society and, the way things are going. But ultimately, like the goal, I hope the goal for all, and I think the goal for all is ultimately, inner peace and, joy and the elimination or decreasing of suffering for oneself, and then one's family, one's loved ones, move the circle of care out and out until hopefully, all sentient beings, like, while we're wishing, why not wish for all sentient beings to be free of suffering and only experiencing happiness and the roots of happiness. And so, yeah, that's that. I forget what the question is, but I think that inner peace is the best.
No, but the question was exactly that. Well, I mean, I'm some things are the best, and some things can be the best. For instance, pineapple being the best fruit in comedy, I have no qualms with.
Oh yeah, and I have an amazing pineapple. I could go get it, but it would be take a little while.
Yeah.
I have a
I believe
pink rubber pineapple
here
with the red leaves, and then inside there's a crystal with like many sides with like a castle inside. So that is a particularly funny pineapple.
in the realm of pineapples being funny, which is a lot of them.
Yeah.
And plus,
you had me at pineapple.
My point was just like variety is the spice of life, even though it's not poisonous. Maybe it is. Who knows? But
yeah, I think even the spice of life would be poisonous in enough volume, like cinnamon and nutmeg.
If you live life too much, it kills you.
I think that's right.
If you